All right, good evening and welcome to the Town of Douglas Planning Board meeting of November 12th, 2025. This meeting is being recorded and broadcasted by local access programming with remote participation available as provided on our agenda. I hereby call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Members in attendance are roll call.
Meg Schlesman.
Mike DeRose.
Rich Preston.
Mike Zwicker.
Aaron Sokrat.
And Mike Greco is here. He's just out of the room for a second. And Mr. Gnatic did reach out to me. He's excused, as is Mr. Marks. And that's it. And we have Mr. Charbonneau online on Zoom.
Yes.
All right. A&Rs, no A&Rs. So we have public hearing continued 7 p.m. from September 24th, 2025 for the amendments to section, there's a lot there. And then
Jake,
Gilboa.
so you have a document in your packet where this is a landowner's petition for an overlay district. The applicant has requested withdrawal. So there's no need for any board action tonight. So I think it would be appropriate if the board closed the public hearing without any further action.
Okay. And we do have that letter in our packet. CRG hereby withdraws that request for the amendment to the zone bylaw and zone and map for the town meeting warrant. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Preston, second by Mr. Zwicker. Any further discussion? Seeing as none, the public hearing is closed. And we will not be taking any action as this board, as they are withdrawn. So we won't vote,
Yes.
support, or anything. So they have withdrawn their application.
That's right. So there's no action to be taken.
All right.
Great. Thank you.
Moving right along. Right into additional business. Start with Spring Meadow Estates bounds update. Mr. Charbonneau.
Thanks, Jake. So yeah, so our engineer on that project, Zach, I believe Zach is online with us right now.
Yep.
So he brought stamped copies of the plan to the office this morning. What you have in the packet were plans he sent before that weren't stamped yet. So I will open it up to Zach to handle this.
All right.
Perfect. Can you hear me?
Sure.
We can. Just introduce yourself for us.
Perfect. Yeah, so for the record, my name is Zach Gless. I'm from Existing Grade, the surveyor for the project here. And again, as I'm sure everybody was aware, that we were retained through the town of Douglas to kind of close out some open subdivisions, with the Spring Meadow Estates being the first one here on the list. And there was kind of some openness regarding the roadway monuments that are typically installed with these subdivisions. So what we had done and have been working on is doing a full property survey and then delineating and installing any of the roadway monuments that either were not found or ensuring any ones that were in place throughout the history of this project were where they were supposed to be. So the intent was to install, I think when we originally were contracted to do this work, there was the intent that none of them were out there. And in doing the survey, we did find quite a few of them out there, and we supplemented the rest with concrete monuments to kind of complete the delineation of those right-of-ways for Pond Street, Spring Street, and then I believe it's Cole Court there.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, that's kind of the gist of the project. But as it stands today, all of the roadway monuments are in place in that subdivision, so that one is, for lack of a better term, kind of wrapped up.
Okay. I'm not going to hold you to the numbers, Zach, but approximately how many were installed originally that you found?
We found about 40 of them.
Okay.
Out of 52.
Okay.
So
That's great.
my guess is at some point, probably during the construction of the roadway closer to the end, that a majority of them had been installed and then were either buried during kind of the looming of the roadway, or just either removed or unfound. They were not found with a metal detector, so we weren't able to really even know they were there until we were staking out to them. So that's why part of what we did is we did the entire subdivision perimeter survey, and then we're able to kind of recalculate back onto the road where they were, and then started finding, a bunch of them. So then we used monuments that were purchased to supplement what were not there.
Okay. And we're going to be looking to do more at some point, and just from my knowledge and to make sure the process is done, as efficiently as possible. Did you catch any grief or any issues from the neighborhood or anything like that?
No, if anything, we were met with kind of open arms to show that where everything was, because, as I'm sure you're aware that by putting in these roadway monuments, everybody who lives in that subdivision, surveys for their properties become exponentially easier now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, we did not run into any concerns. Everybody was more than happy to have us there. They were letting us go through their yards to do surveying work, and we didn't meet any sort of hostilities on that side.
All right, perfect. I didn't know if we had to do anything, better or more on our end for communication as we go forward with more projects.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anything else to add to that, Mr. Charbonneau?
No, I know we're going to be talking about further subdivisions in the near future, and I'm hoping that we can retain Zach to do those as well, because I think this went very well. And I believe, Zach, in a previous email, you said that you do have some monuments or stakes left over that could be potentially used for the next subdivision.
Yep. So again, part of when we kind of kicked this project off is we purchased the 52 monuments that were intended to be there, so there are some left over that could easily be used on any other subdivisions that may be needed.
All right, awesome.
Awesome.
All right, thank you, Zach.
Perfect, thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sarah, can we lower the TV volume just a hair? We have an empty room, so we don't have to.
Don't you see the crowd?
All right, 2026 meeting schedule, possible votes. Before we get into 2026, let's talk about 2025. We have a meeting scheduled for the eve of Thanksgiving.
Actually, Zach, that's an error on my part. Your calendar for this year does not have a meeting on that night.
Okay.
I just assumed it was, but Jen let me know that you do not have a meeting on the 26th schedule.
Okay, and how about December?
There should only be one.
December 20, yeah, because December 24th is Christmas Eve. I believe it's the same thing. I don't think there's a meeting scheduled for that night, so.
Okay, so we're good to go?
Yeah, you're good to go for this year.
Okay.
Just normally,
Now, on 2026, Zach, you will run into a potential issue in November where your meeting date of the 11th is going to be Veterans Day, and then the 25th, obviously, is going to be the day before Thanksgiving. So I don't know if the board wants to talk about, meeting on the 18th of that month instead, so you make sure you have one meeting that month.
All right, let's just start at the beginning. Meetings are Thursdays?
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays, yes, Wednesdays.
It's Wednesday.
7 p.m. And we generally start looking at the 4th of July week.
yeah,
And,
well, June, July, and August, we normally do one meeting.
June 2?
Yep,
Okay.
some months.
All right, so
December 10.
we have a meeting scheduled for June 10th and June 24th. I'd say the July 8th is a scratch. That's very close to the 4th of July.
I'll go with that.
So with that, do you want to go off of that and do every other in the summer?
Sure, leave June 24, take off June 10,
Yep.
then leave August 26, and take off the 12th of August.
Should be good.
So the 8th of July and the 12th of August, it's out.
June 10, July 8,
8 and August 12.
and August 12 are out. All right, so November, we're looking at, is it Veterans Day or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
love
Veterans
it.
Day.
Will the 18th interfere with the master plan?
I don't believe so. I think the master plan is supposed to be done by June.
Yes. Be done.
Should be done by June?
Yeah, so it should be done long before then, Mike.
Okay.
And it's one of those, maybe we schedule the 18th, and if there's not much on the
Yeah.
agenda,
We'll write in for the 18th,
Which
Yeah.
November.
and we'll scratch December 23rd,
Oh, yeah.
2 days before Christmas.
Yeah, that's pretty close to the holiday.
Yeah.
Probably
18th.
not a whole lot
Yeah,
going to
but
be
it's
happening at that point.
No.
I'd even move December.
Well, you're gonna have the 18th and have it then on the 9th,
Yeah,
so that'll be good spacing. Equal,
yeah, that's good.
The 25th is up.
Nope, we're keeping 25th.
because then we come right back January
2 weeks in a row.
14th.
Right?
So 18th and 25th.
We were going to have November 18th.
Oh, no, keep that.
We'll have a meeting on the 18th of November.
All right, so I have, based off of this, scratching off June 10th, July 8th, August 12th, changing November 11 to November 18,
Oh, I thought we
and removing December 23rd.
Oh, remember,
We're not gonna
moving
do,
November 25 too.
we're not gonna do November 25.
Yeah.
That's not
Okay.
We're
typically.
changing the
Okay.
25th to the 18th.
November
Yeah.
is normally one meeting and December's one meeting.
Okay, so
Okay, yeah,
18.
18th and the 9th.
18 is in, November 25th is out.
yeah,
Yes.
December 9,
Yes, yes. That's
keeping December 9,
good.
Yep.
scratching the 23rd. All right,
Okay.
Make a motion to accept this 2026 planning board schedule as amended.
Second.
okay, motion made by Mrs. Wicker, second by Mrs. Sokrat. Any further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. 53G refund, possible votes. We have the refund before you is for the following. SPR-211213, Douglas Convenience, 74 Main Street, project not moving forward. Refund of approximately $860.54 plus any additional interest. Okay. Entertain a motion to, what's the word, to release the refund for special permit 211213 for Douglas Convenience of $860.54 plus any additional interest.
Second.
Made by Mr. Sokrat, second by Mr. DeRose. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, could I apologize.
How much of this?
Circle back quickly regarding the bounds. I had a quick question.
Oh,
I couldn't keep track of it.
yes.
The question was, this may be for John, did we decide that the bounds that were being identified and/or replaced were simply right-of-way bounds versus property corner bounds? John, do you know?
Yeah, that I'd have to check on that, Rich. You know, I believe that they're for the roadway. That's mainly what the town is concerned with. I don't think they'd be for every single property.
Yeah, whatever's required, I'm just curious. I have been for a while. What it is.
Yeah, it just looked from these maps, Rich, like it was all along the.
On the map, it's just roadway.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually
No
curves, intersections.
Yeah, wherever you see a curve on here is where you see a marker.
And the width of the road, of course, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Not on the property lines, yeah.
Great, thanks.
But the property owner uses those points if they ever need to survey their property.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And going to bring it right back to you, Mr. Preston, for the Master Plan Committee update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Master Plan Committee last met on Wednesday, October
Thank you.
29th. We met with the Right to Farm petition proponents. We had a fairly frank and informative discussion. We also discussed a photo contest meant to encourage further community input in addition to providing additional photo images that we can use in the master plan. last we discussed the economic development element findings and recommendations, which are interesting. Our next meeting is this Wednesday, November 19th at 5 o'clock.
And I keep hearing about pizza. Are we doing pizza
Yeah,
soon?
we're big on the pizza thing.
All right, thank you. All right, subdivision rules and regulations amendment discussion. We have Highway Superintendent, Mr. Adam Furno, on Zoom as well. Going to try to focus on sidewalks, grass strips, and performance bonds. I'll kick it to Mr. Charbonneau to get us going on this discussion.
Yeah, so the first thing I'd like to point out is, I believe it's shown as page 17 of the subdivision rules and regs. So I am happy that the information I got from another town council that we discussed previously was not accurate. According to our town council, the language that is contained in paragraph 4 regarding retention of a performance bond until acceptance by the town is valid, and Kate Connolly has approved the language that's shown. So that being said, paragraph 5 and 6 is language that Kate and I worked on to add to this for two other things regarding performance bonds that were discussed. Paragraph 5 about the performance guarantee for the roadway will not be subject to reimbursement for portions of the project completed. This is what we discussed about not doing bond reductions as work gets completed, because what happens inevitably in most cases is a developer says, hey, I got this and this done, I want you to reduce my bond by $15,000. $15,000 here, $10,000 there. The board ends up being left with a bond that's nowhere near enough by the end of the project. So this would simply stipulate out front, and Kate was supportive of this language, that, and this could be reinforced in any decisions that we write, that basically there will not be bond reductions. The board will hold on to the full bond until project completion and acceptance at town meeting. Then on paragraph 6, which will again be memorialized in our decisions, is that the performance guarantee shall be subject to periodic reviews and cost assessment to determine whether the amount retained is sufficient to cover the remaining costs, and an increase may be required by the planning board. So those are the three elements of bonds we discussed, and this language has been endorsed by town council and agreed to by town council.
Through the chair, I got one question. On paragraph 6, periodic, we were told you can do it no more than once a year.
Okay.
Correct? Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. And if so, why don't we put in yearly?
I've never encountered that. I mean, usually for most subdivisions that take a while, usually once a year is sufficient. However, if it's a smaller subdivision, only a few lots, they may be done by the end of that year. So it's potential for a smaller subdivision. We could look at 6 months, but I could check on that with Kate and verify that. But normally you'd be right. Normally once a year would be sufficient for most subdivisions, except in the cases of small subdivisions that will be finished quicker.
Should we look at it or what? Because, I mean, it's kind of leaving it open.
Let me verify that with Kate to see if there's anything that stipulates that.
Or
That way they were covered, and not only that, we can put the language right in there, so we can go periodic. To me, it could be one thing. To somebody else, they could say, well, that means once every 3 years. That's periodic to me over a 10-year span. So saying maybe yearly.
The thing is, Mike, we could take that on a case-by-case basis, depending on the subdivision. That we could put that as a condition of approval, kind of like hours of operation. So if it's a subdivision that's only a few lots, if we can do 6 months, then we do 6 months. If it's something that's phased out, it's a larger subdivision, then it could be 1 year, it could be every 2 years. So I think in our decision, I believe we can take that on a case-by-case basis. But let me verify that with Kate.
Okay.
or maybe add, if there is a maximum or a minimum, we go with that and maybe add up to the board's discretion.
Right, because I thought maybe CMRPC was in here or something, and I thought I heard, and I could be wrong, you're only allowed no more than once a year to allow for increases. Because otherwise you could do it every 3 months.
Yeah.
Say, okay, we want more, we want more, we want more. I think there is...
Yeah, the engineers don't want to do that multiple times a year either.
No, so I think it's once a year by law, I thought.
Okay.
So let me check.
We'll
on
find
that.
out.
If that's a law, then it makes it very simple for us. We can
Yeah.
in the regulations and call it a day.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, thank you.
All right.
Just one final
Mr.
comment
Rose?
there. The way it's written, it's mainly to review it. It doesn't imply that we have to increase the bond. So,
No, because it may be
Yeah.
deemed to be appropriate.
right. So
Yeah.
it's, to me, it doesn't, I don't think it's going to get us in trouble. We'll see what the town council says, but, because we're not necessarily going to be increasing the bond unless there's something really
At
out
least,
of whack.
I think that, yeah, at least in today's environment with inflation, you're gonna be increasing it every year.
But we're also not not going to be releasing, so.
Correct,
So,
still, yeah, it goes both
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
But if you have a 5-year project, and 5 years ago, concrete was $60 a yard, and 4 years later, it's $100 a yard, you're increasing the bond. And if you don't, you're not staying on top of it, then if they walk away, now you're stuck. Because you're not staying up with the inflation and the cost increases on labor and everything else to do it all.
yeah, so I think this language covers us.
Yeah,
For long, the inflation is
Also, in fairness to developers, when we do a review of a bond, we do usually engage our peer review consultant to go out on the review, so that does take out of their 53G account whenever we have that done.
yep.
All right, and then we wanted to bring Mr. Furno in because a lot of discussion has been about, sidewalks, curbing, grass strips, trees. So I would just want to get the highway superintendent's recommendations that he may have for these subdivisions, because ultimately, once they're passed at town meeting, the town then takes them over for maintenance. So,
Now, Jake, I thought Mr. Zwicker had said previously that, that Mike, you had worked on this with Adam, the language that we have in the subdivision.
A little bit, so
Point 4.
back on 1/30/2025, I still have the documents from way back in the day on some of that stuff, on what had been discussed and a little bit, but it's been almost a year since this was all discussed.
yeah, want to start fresh and,
Yeah,
yeah.
so,
Adam, quick, or in-depth as you want to get.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adam Furno, Highway Superintendent. One of the things that we were discussing Map and North Point, Mr. Zwicker and I, over a year ago, that, some of the concerns we have as a highway department is the trees that are located, that are planted. If you go up the Hilltop Drive, the trees that are between the roadway and the sidewalk are actually lifting the roadway and lifting the sidewalk, causing trip hazards. It's the same thing on Jefferson Drive. We've actually gone in and taken most of the trees out on Jefferson Drive because they were planted there and they look great when they're young and they're, the developments are new, but the trees now lift the sidewalk after so many years and the roadway starts to buckle, it deteriorates the asphalt quicker. So that was one concern we brought up. The second is the grass strip between the roadway and the sidewalk. Before, basically from the roadway, there's a grass strip, then there's a sidewalk, then it's the private property. Everyone expects the highway to come out and mow that grass strip, and, it's really, we don't have the resources to mow those things, so that'd be something that we'd like to see, the sidewalk move right up against the road, and then people could just mow up to the sidewalk. The trees could be moved back into the property. Right. There's things like that, and there's more like we talked about concrete thickness. Mrs. Zwicker and I have gone back and forth. Right now the highway department does 6 inches of concrete at a minimum, but there is other things out there. If you have good base that you can put down, you can go to 4. So there's a lot of variables, like I said, but those are just a few things that we've discussed. And also we talked about road width. Main roads like Main Street is about 24 feet wide. And I know there was talk about reducing it down. MassDOT has been trying to narrow the roadways a little bit to slow people down, especially in the residential areas. That's fine with us. The only thing that, like John Charbonneau and I have talked about was like mailboxes, if it's a private community, that they have a community mailbox in the front, so there's got to be a jog so the mailbox can have, people can pull off and get out of the way because the roadway's so narrow. So again, there's a lot of variables with this, but those are just our concerns from the highway department.
All right. Question, Adam. Does the highway have a preference of what they would rather maintain or see from concrete sidewalk or asphalt sidewalk? Because I know concrete could be more expensive to patch up if need be, or what, is there a preference from the highway side?
So there's no preference for us. I come from the water department side of things, and that's where I kind of got a lot of my experience. And asphalt sidewalks are a lot nicer and easier to repair. For aesthetics, like Main Street, those areas, concrete sidewalks are very much needed because of the traffic, the way things are and the way people are on them. But some of these developments, asphalt to me is fine. Like you're talking Pond Street's asphalt, and Jefferson Drive is concrete. No, I'm sorry, Jefferson Drive, I believe, is concrete. But Summit Hilltop, I think, has asphalt in certain areas. So we're not against asphalt. In the main areas, I like concrete. They're going to redo Depot Street with new curbing, and the concrete's going to look really nice. But if you're talking like a Pond Street area, asphalt is fine with me.
Okay. And what will also help is us removing the trees, so that will help give the asphalt sidewalk a little bit more longevity.
Correct. And I'm not against the trees. I just think put them up in the yard, put them up, 15, 20 feet away. I know it becomes the homeowner's responsibility for the tree once it hits there, but if that's something that you guys can, keep away from the sidewalks, keep away from the road, that just helps all the way around.
Okay. Curbing. Any preference on curbing in developments?
So developments, asphalt curbing, Cape Cod berm is fine with us. Like I said, again, Main Street, Depot Street, we use granite curb, but in the developments like Pond Street in that area that you're proposing here, I'm fine with Cape Cod berm.
Okay. I know Downs Road, they have granite curbing around intersections, almost like the bends of intersections. Would that be something?
Yeah, so they have granite curbing around the
I know catch basins, yep.
Which you can ask my plow guys. They're not a fan of those because of the fact that, you end up plowing, you rub it against the curb, and then you hit that granite, and it shakes the whole truck. But there's reasons for it, because it's also like a drop inlet structure that the water gets behind the granite and drops in. So there are reasons for that. But then the asphalt, Cape Cod berm is great, so we have no issues with that. Easy to repair for us.
Okay.
Things like that. You said maintenance-wise, asphalt is easier for us to repair and quicker for us to repair.
And cheaper.
And very much cheaper, yeah.
Okay. All right. Go around the table. Is anyone? Aaron?
Well, through the chair, if you remember, Ernie Marks' pet peeve was these grass pits, right?
Yeah.
Move the trees on the properties for the homeowners.
Yeah.
Exactly mirroring what we're saying today. Just wanted to reflect on.
Yeah.
I just got one through the chair. So, Adam, do you prefer the asphalt curbing and sidewalk over concrete curbing and sidewalk?
In the developments, I do, yes.
Okay.
In these main streets, I think you need the granite curbing and the concrete sidewalks, but in the developments, as in Pond Street, in that area, yes, I prefer the asphalt.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just going to say, under 6.6, where it's referencing the trees, should there be a reference to homeowners being responsible eventually for trees that are going to be placed there, so that it's clear that the town will not be responsible for them?
I don't think you can.
Well, it depends on the placement, because other towns have run into the same situation that I've worked in, where street trees are a maintenance, for lack of a better term, a maintenance nightmare for DPWs. And so I've worked in other towns where they've changed their regulations to make sure that the tree is placed on private property when a lot is developed.
Right.
So that automatically would place it under the homeowner's responsibility. I don't suppose it would hurt to memorialize it. We could either do it here, or, when we actually do our decisions, we can actually put that as a condition of approval. But yeah, that usually takes care of it. It's when, as long as you make sure it's on the landowner's property, then it's their responsibility.
Yeah, so we just gotta, I think we gotta play with that language of the trees a little
Yeah.
bit.
Does 5 feet do it?
Yeah,
on
we
the,
work on
right
that,
away.
to get a little bit more specific to Nate's concern.
If I can, through the chair, the minute you put it on somebody's property, the minute they move in, they can rip that tree out. Nothing says they gotta keep it, because they own it.
But they're optional anyway, so,
Well, that's what I'm getting at, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a deal where, yeah, it goes either way, I could care less, but,
well, I think if it's clearer for the developers here saying that the town is not going to maintain these trees,
yes, yeah,
that,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, that they are aware of that and
Yes.
know that, so if they choose to
100%.
plant them, then,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you almost put, trees are optional, and then our recommendation of our placement, more than 5 feet from the sidewalk on private property,
yeah.
and the recommended trees, hardwoods.
Yeah. Or any tree planted must be on private property, not town property.
And the chair, if it's optional, they're not asking for a waiver. If they don't do any trees.
Yeah, because it's optional, so there won't be a waiver, but it's optional, but here's our recommendation for
Yeah,
the
they
trees.
come in with the plan, it shows them, then they have to have it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.
I have a question for you,
Thank you.
Adam.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 second, Adam, 1 second.
Hey, Adam. Hi, it's Rich Preston. I have a question for you regarding concrete versus tar. I understand your argument. You make a good argument for that on the subdivisions, but isn't concrete more durable and longer lasting? I mean, if you go up to Pond Street now, Adam, it's very wavy and buckly, and it's about half the size it should be in terms of width.
Correct. Well, the width will be the same with asphalt. The reason we shy away from it, unfortunately, all the towns are going to all salt now. And so if you look at our concrete sidewalks on Main Street, they're more trip hazards all the way through on all our concrete sidewalks, and that's because of the salt that we use. And so asphalt doesn't deteriorate like that. It's easily repairable. So concrete does last longer, but it doesn't last longer when you use salt.
Not in New England.
Yeah, correct.
And also, what are your thoughts on sidewalks on both sides? I think some people would actually appreciate that in the subdivisions, but obviously there's more sidewalk to take care of, too.
Yeah, correct. And the one thing that also I want to state while we're doing this is we don't plow the sidewalks in a lot of these developments, and that's becoming an issue now the more we have these subdivisions because, we have only 5 guys. So we do the sidewalks downtown with our sidewalk tractor, and the town's bylaw says anyone who owns a property that abuts a sidewalk is supposed to maintain that sidewalk with snow and ice. So having 2 sidewalks is fine. A large development, I can see why you would need it. A smaller one, maybe you only need 1. But like I said, it's fine until snow and ice, season. And, like sweeping it and that, we don't sweep a lot of the outside of Main Street. If we need to get some sand off of it, we don't really do the developments either. So a lot of people, these new homeowners come in and they think they're getting all these services in the front entrance that, in the development, and I'll use White Heights as an example, they approach me looking for all the front entrance to be cut and basically all the way down to the first house, to always be maintained and mowed every week. And I'm like, no, we don't do that. So there's a lot of things, the more we add, unfortunately, the more work it puts on the highway, and we don't have that many people to take care of all this.
Okay, thank you. One last question, if I could. Thank you. Also, the width. Would you be in favor of us keeping it, I believe it's 5 feet wide, is that
I
correct?
think it's for ADA compliance.
ADA, yeah. I think it's
This has, everything
4 or
has to
5.
be ADA.
Because if you go to Spring Meadow now,
Oh, yeah.
it's not 5 feet, and at some point it narrows, so it's like one person, people have to walk single file down those sidewalks. And that,
It's awful in there.
Yeah,
And
okay.
like I said, and it's not, it needs to be ADA compliant. That falls on Ken Fraser, he's the ADA officer. But, it has to be compliant. some of these projects, unfortunately, you guys are seeing it just like we are, where, you know, there was no oversight back in the day when these were done, and kind of just whatever they put in is what happened. So now it's, you know, the way you guys are, and John Charbonneau and Ken Frazier, I mean, I think everyone's got eyes on all these projects, which is going to help, but it definitely needs to be 5 feet.
Yeah, and I think as we go forward and we're trying to be more cognizant and to prevent issues, I think we figure it out, we get the proper depth of what the asphalt should be, have it compacted, we have engineer on site making sure it's done right, and then those should hold up a lot longer than a lot of these sidewalks where they just put a skim coat on and walk away.
I got one question for you, to the chair, Adam. Sidewalk, base coat, top coat, mandatory, should be, for
Yes.
longevity?
Yes, absolutely. Definitely base coat, top coat.
Yep.
You definitely want to have a good, 4 or 5 inches of asphalt, when you do it, or even, like I said, I think our roads right now, we're doing, I think it's like 2-inch base and 1.75 inch top,
Yep.
something like that. You want that, yes, because that's what's going to keep it and it'll make it last longer.
Okay.
Through the chair to Mr. Furno. It's a pet peeve probably, but I'm seeing more and more people putting berms on the side of their property, at the street, to hold rain back and water so it doesn't shed onto their property, even though probably in the past it did. And we got, and as you know, with all your repairs, we got a lot of water sitting on streets, and now winter's coming up, and people don't care. They don't want the water on the property, and they leave it on the street. We all see that.
Yep. It's everywhere. It's the new normal, as I call it, with the rain that we get. It floods everywhere, and it's a combination of the lack of infrastructure, which we try to address as we pave. We don't have a lot of money for paving, but as we pave, we try to add drains, change cross drains, make new swales. Try to capture the water any way we can. But now, the more houses we put in, the less spots the water can get off. And nobody wants it. It comes out of their neighbor's yard and into their property, and, it somehow becomes a town issue once it hits the town road.
Dangerous.
So, everybody's berming, everybody's, doing this, and they're not infiltrating back on the property. Almost every driveway permit I sign off on, I write, infiltrate stormwater on property, do not discharge in a roadway, just for this exact reason. It's just becoming the new normal with this rainfall, and so the more houses I can mark that off at, the better I am.
Well, I have one more question through the chair for Mr. Charbonneau. Do you see any other towns that have a mechanism to allow for continued maintenance of these entranceways to these subdivisions? I know we can't put it on the developer in perpetuity, but...
What do you mean by the entranceways?
So to what Mr. Furno was saying in terms of whether or not they're supposed to cut all the way to the street or whatever, these developments go in and they look nice for the first 6 months, and then everything is overgrown and nobody takes care of it anymore. And
that's a tricky one, because in Stoughton, we used to maintain a landscape bond for one growing season, but that's pretty much as far as you can go, unfortunately. So yeah, you can maintain a small bond for one growing season, but beyond that, it's basically up to them to maintain it. So you're right, it is an issue, but I could check with Kate Connolly, but I think that's probably the most we could do, is maintain the landscaping bond for one growing season. But I'll check with Kate to see if we can go beyond that.
well, I was thinking if there is a lot that, if each lot is part of the entrance on each side, is it possible to have something that goes with those lots to require them to maintain that up to the street?
Well, what you could do is, I've seen homeowners associations established, and the only thing they need to maintain is that potential entrance. There may be a decorative stone wall, there may be some plantings, so that could always be part of a homeowners association just for that purpose.
I'm sure the homeowners would probably appreciate it as well.
Yeah, because that'd be a tough one for the town to take over. They have a immaculate stone wall entrance with all kinds of beautiful landscaping, and then then it's our
And I
responsibility.
think that's something that's fairly easy for a homeowners association to maintain, and, you know, as opposed to drainage swales and infrastructure like that. I would think maintaining a wall with some shrubs and planting would be fairly easy.
So it's a possibility, maybe.
So that's another avenue we could look into when a project comes forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
And one last thing for Adam. The town still wants to have retention ponds on their own lot that gets handed off to the town.
Yeah, so that would be wonderful if that could happen. Some of the problems we're running into, we're trying to maintain these stormwater basins, detention, retention ponds that have been put in places. They overgrow after so many years, and then the people move out, the new people move in, and then you go in their backyard and you clear cut, and they are not very happy with us doing this. And I can understand why. I mean, they have the woods, and it's actually a retention pond. And also, some of the easements we have one that's right across this person's lawn, that's our easement. It's to the left of their driveway, and we have to drive a machine down there to get in the back. So, yeah, it'd be really good if we could have our own parcel. That way, there's no, we just notify the abutters saying, hey, we're coming in to do this, and then, we're good to go. We don't have to try to get permission or reason with people. We get a lot of negative feedback from residents once we have to do these kind of things, especially when we only get to do 2 a year, and there's a bunch of them in town. We don't get very many done. So by the time we get back to them, they're overgrown, they look like woods, and people don't realize it ever.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Adam before we let him sign off?
Not a question, but a comment. We'll probably need your help to specify the requirements for bituminous sidewalks, because right now we only have the concrete specs in here. So we have to have something that says how
These are the specs we want.
the right way to form it, the base coat, the top coat, all that
Yep,
stuff.
we can work on that. I can reach out, even if we want, we hire Stantec that does all my roadway paving. I can hire, I'm sure they'll send me over some information and something they've used in another town that we can kind of mirror that.
Standard.
Yeah, 'cause we have to have a standard, otherwise they'll just put the 1 inch of crusty stuff and
That's what we call it.
Correct.
All right. That was good information from Adam.
all right,
All right. Yep. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
thanks.
All right. So, John, what do you want to do from now? Do you want to wait till you're back in and everyone's here to kind of dive further into it?
Well, look, I just want to point out one more thing before that, Jake. On page 33 at the bottom, under paragraph 3, item B, I did make one small change because of the issue we dealt with at North Village with mail kiosks. Speaking of mail kiosks, I did make one change. It did say on-street parking must be provided. I changed that to off-street parking because that's the issue they're having at North Village. They have the mail kiosk right on the roadway, and cars are having to stop basically on the edge of the roadway, in the roadway, to get their mail, and that is not an acceptable situation. So I changed that to off-street because if you're going to have a mail kiosk, you should have at least an area where a couple cars can pull over and get out of the main road to pick up that mail. So I changed that to off-street parking.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a parking lot, but I know what you're saying. A pull-off spot.
I think we did it on Jim Pine's project up there.
And we did it for Sutton Douglas development.
Sutton Douglas, but I can't think of the name of it now. It's over by the solar project, over by heading out of town. When Jim went in and took out all the gravel.
Joseph Road.
Okay. Remember we had the off-street and we had them do a cut-in with a street light and all that?
Yep.
Where it's off the main road, we made sure so many parking spots for that mailbox.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
So I just wanted to point that out. So I think from here, Jake, I think we should have one more discussion in December because obviously we want Adam to get us some examples of specifications for bituminous concrete. I want to follow up on that time period with Kate as far as review of bonds and just get together with Mr. Zwicker to make sure that the language that's that showing in the copies we have regarding the sidewalks and things of that nature is consistent with what he was talking about with Adam. And then
Yeah.
I think once we have those things squared away, we can schedule a public hearing to adopt them all.
Okay.
Should I just have one final thing if I could?
Yeah.
Please, thanks. Directing this to you, John. This is my pet peeve, I'm sorry. Under monument 6.71, I know we didn't highlight it. Such monuments shall conform to the standard specifications of the board, shall be set according to such specifications.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems that it's a myth. I don't know that we have any specifications. If we do, we don't know what they are or where they are. And I think this may have contributed to us circling back to over a dozen subdivisions to make sure
Yeah.
everything's in place. So it would be nice to have something there.
Yeah, so let me check with Zach on that to see if there's some uniform specifications in the field in civil engineering that we can put in here.
There must be a standard.
Yeah, there's got to be.
Yeah,
I would think so, yeah.
I would think,
Thank you, Rich. Thanks for giving me that.
Those granite blocks.
And do you want to just hammer out the trees part, just the wording that we're looking for on that? That's just a small section there.
Yeah, so what do you guys, how do you guys want to word that?
I think we do, my thought is, trees are optional in the subdivision. And then we go with, if trees are planted, they are to be, 5 feet from the sidewalk
Okay.
on private property.
you're not gonna have the sidewalk on both sides though, so you gotta watch out how you say that. I would just say not in the easement way,
You could say.
because we're gonna be marking the easement way, because if you only have one sidewalk, okay, 5 feet from a sidewalk, there is no sidewalk. What do I go off of then?
But can you just say they must be on private property?
Or 8 feet
Yeah.
from the curb or something, yeah.
They must be outside of the town right of way?
There you go,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that's gonna put it in, like you say, private property.
Yep. Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
Trees are optional, but if they are to be installed, they're to be installed on outside the town right away.
Right away?
Yep.
And if trees are to be installed, they are to be, hardwoods, 1.5 inch in diameter. And then add that the trees will be the responsibility of the property owner to maintain.
We still requiring both sides then?
Well, they're optional.
Yeah, we're not requiring them, so
So if they do trees, they can do one side.
they can do both sides, they can do one side.
Okay.
Every other side, yeah. it's-
So that we have to change then, because here it says it has to be both sides.
Yeah, I think we're going to get rid of the whole, shall be installed an average spacing of 100 feet on both sides, I think. Because you can't have shall.
That second sentence altogether?
Yeah, because if it's recommended, we can't have shall.
Right.
So basically, just go for that first sentence regarding outside of the town right away, then the last sentence would be all trees must be hardwoods, and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if installed,
If installed, yeah,
Okay.
10 to 12 feet tall.
Yep.
Through the chair, as long as they know where the bounds are. As long as they know where the bounds are.
all
Right
right,
away goes farther in than you think.
yeah.
So I think that language about being outside the town right of way, I think that's a good catch-all, because that 5 feet, like you said, it may be, you may have to go more than 5 feet to get onto private property, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, just as,
I think being
No
outside
less.
of the town right of way, it gives you flexibility.
yep.
Yeah, and the right of way too, there's going to be, it could be underground utilities and
Correct.
everything there too, so it
That's
just
why
leaves
you
it
just
clear
keep it
there.
out of that right of way area, yeah.
All right.
Great. Thank you.
That's my keep pile. Okay. Discussion on future zoning bylaw amendment priorities.
So, Ken and I are going to be sitting down next week. I've been working on the amendments to the accessory dwelling unit bylaws, so we're going to have that coming up in the spring. There has been discussion at the master plan committee meetings about, once the master plan is complete, of doing a recodification of our entire zoning bylaws, which will be an extensive project. Jake, you and I talked about this on the phone the other day. Don't want to get, don't want to get too bogged down with other amendments if we're going to be redoing the entire zoning bylaws. But I wanted to know if there's something that the board wanted to work on once the ADU changes are made. Now, Jake, you mentioned something about over 55 housing.
Yes.
So is that something the board wants to work on next after the accessory dwelling units?
We don't have anything from the state yet on the ADUs, do we?
Well, actually, yes, the state got back and they rejected parts of it, and that's what I'm working on. I'm working on things that the state rejected and fixing those. And also Ken has weighed in on that he really feels strongly about maintaining the differentiation between ADUs and in-law suites. So he wants to maintain that. So he and I are working on that together. And once we have something drafted, he will come before the board to explain the reasoning behind that and discuss that.
So ADUs are still working the kinks out with them.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I mean,
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think 55 plus would be that's a priority for me. Just, we don't have one. We don't have any in town, and we don't have any bylaws or regulations for them to come to town, so.
Entertainment, so,
It's a-
I mean, just some towns just put it in ahead of time.
What's that?
Entertainment zones.
We have those. Yeah, I think every town had to have them or something like
I
that.
don't know where it is.
No one knows where it is because it is in the farthest northwest
Probably, yeah.
corner of the town that no one can get to.
That was the idea.
Yeah.
Rhode Island.
Yeah, I'm fine, we can start with that, 55.
Okay.
I mean,
There's a lot of towns that have them, so there's a lot of language we can, reference. And I go through a lot of them at work, and it's great to have. And in this town, where it's an aging population, and people, there's nowhere for them to stay in town affordably once they outgrow their home, or not really outgrow it, but their family reduces, and I'd like to have a nice development too for people to stay in town.
Has it been able?
One thing that I would like to add in there when we start working on this is some type of affordability component to make sure that these aren't simply, they're not all market rate, to make sure that there's an affordability for people who don't have the income to pay $500,000 for a duplex unit, for instance.
Yeah.
Don't they have to? Don't a portion of them have to be, John?
What's that? I didn't hear that.
Sorry, isn't there a component where they're required to have a certain number of
No, not
affordable?
necessarily, because there's a project going up on the old Rutland Heights property where the hospital used to be right now. That's going to be 142 units, and those are completely market rate in Rutland. They're not affordable at all, and they're selling for about $450,000 to $500,000 a duplex unit. So it's something that I'd like to at least consider is an affordability component with over 55 developments.
if I can though, through the chair, how would that work out with the cost of building and stuff? What kind of incentive then would you have to do?
Don't know. That's something we'd have to get into, Mike. There are different types of incentives you can do. You could allow a little bit more density to make up for that. So there are different things we can look at, but it's at least something I'd like to put on the table. And if we can't make it work, we can't make it work. But at least like
Right.
entertain.
Yeah, because we have our flex development, so we can kind of incorporate that a little bit into it.
Yeah, something to research and see what could be.
Yeah.
For the chair, wasn't the ADU part of the concept of that to create an affordability by creating more units
Yes.
in towns? And that of itself, I mean, we should have 55, but I'm saying that also creates that affordability or
Potentially.
potential.
It's funny you say that, Aaron, because the ADUs were formed under what's called the Affordable Homes Act.
Yeah.
One of my pet peeves is there's no requirement for affordability of any of these ADUs. So it's funny, yeah, you're right, Aaron, that was supposedly part of the motivation behind this, but the state never put anything out there that requires affordability of ADUs.
We just don't have the right people.
Yeah, they don't talk to us out here for
Through the
our
chair,
opinions.
To John. John, should low and moderate income housing be in the mix also? if we're going to be
Sure.
revisiting zoning and what have you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we were talking about an HPP plan, and we're also looking to see what's out there, so that, as far as an updated inventory, so that, because we may have more than 4% low and moderate income housing out there. I don't think our inventory is up to date. So that would be
Yeah,
the start, and John's been helping us with that.
One thing I'm not liking about the state is, I think I told you this, Rich, years ago, there was a contact at the state, her name was Margot LeClaire, and I could email her directly, and she would get me an updated inventory within 15 minutes. Now, they don't even give individual staff members on their website now, because it's no longer DHCD, it's now the Executive Office of Housing Livable Communities. And you go on their website, there's no individual people listed, you have to send an email to a general site. And I got an acknowledgement, I sent them an email a few weeks ago asking them for an updated SHI, and I have heard nothing back from them. So there's a level of frustration in trying to contact the state and getting information out of them. It's become much less user-friendly.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving along, ongoing developments.
Yes, so I have a couple of updates. I don't have any specific information, but the cubes at Gilboa, I have been informed that there may be a tenant for that building coming soon,
Wow.
Nice.
Great.
possibly within the next few weeks to a month. I don't know who. So, but a little birdie told me that's something that may be occupied sooner rather than later.
That's great news.
The over-under.
So, and the other update is the bottom one, the lane at Hunts Pond. The Alfonso Development, who bought the subdivision, has come into agreement on a new covenant with the previous owner, and it has been signed off on by town council as of the last day or two. So that will be on your agenda on December 10th for the board to actually endorse that covenant, so Alfonso can actually move forward with that subdivision.
Okay. Board, any questions for ongoing developments? Seeing as none. All right, Mrs. Zwicker, we're going to talk about Town Planner Report, 45 Oak Street Solar Project
I
Update.
recuse myself.
So I have nothing to add, Jake.
Okay.
Other than in your packet, they just had an update as far as, the ongoing work of that project. But I figured, they were moving in a good direction, and it wasn't necessary to have Mr. Frazier or the developer here for these discussions. It's simply an update.
Okay. I'm just seeing they have 2 remaining tasks of gate removal, fence relocation, shed construction, pump install, equipment pad, floodlight install. Anticipated completion date of 21 of November. That's right around the corner.
Yep.
Work is scheduled to begin November 10.
Yes.
And then apron, final paving, temperature dependent. After completion of shed construction, temperature dependent. Okay. There's some pictures in the basins and, all right. So they're moving along.
They continue to move forward with the last couple of items.
Awesome. All right, did we miss anything in, do you have any other reports or anything, Mr. Charbonneau?
No, I do not have anything tonight.
Okay,
I'm back.
all right, open session topics not reasonably anticipated 48 hours.
I know. It's quick.
Anyone have any open session topics? Seeing as none. Minutes, we got some minutes. I know I started looking at one of them, I saw a couple.
Yeah, there's something on the Blue Wave, item number 3.
Which, September 10?
September 10th, yes, sorry. Towards the bottom of the paragraph on page 2, it says, "The most important thing Mr. Fraser emphasized, what things being done that were said they would be done, and communication." That, I'm not sure what we're trying to say there, but but that doesn't say much. I think this was the discussion about Ken wanted to know what was done and get told, get updated. So we need to rewrite that to be something that says, Mr. Frazier was concerned about not being kept up to date.
Yeah, that wording doesn't really,
That doesn't make sense.
no,
Kick that one back.
yeah.
I didn't see anything else in this one.
Right on that same paragraph, should it be after my name, rejoin the table? Instead of just join the table?
Oh.
So is one correction and one research on the wording. I just don't know how we vote for that if we don't know for sure what the wording's going to be.
Yeah.
So we'll hold off on September 10. September 24.
So Jake, can someone just make sure that those notations get back to Jen so she can get in contact with Stephanie?
Okay.
My name is Paul. AA.
Oh, Aaron.
That was probably a typing error. I think the wording about the snow in the driveway on item number 3 is a little bit odd. Perhaps the board discussed some concerns about clearing of the snow in the driveway.
What if we just get rid of snow and just say, the board discussed some concerns about the driveway?
Okay.
Because it's all on the tape anyways, yeah. We discussed concerns, so I would just get rid of that.
All right. It's easier.
So scratch that out, change it to about.
I think under the next one, Jake declared the public open.
Which one's that one?
Sorry.
Jake Sullivan declared the meeting open. Okay.
Hearing, meeting, was it, yeah, hearing.
Seeking is page 1, about 4 or 5 lines it up again. It's just seeking, that the only relief they are seeking is for the height of the building. It's tiny, And then when they before,
It is, yeah.
see what happens when they before the zoning board, when they, what should that be? Page 1, third
Page
line
one.
up.
Do you have good notes going, Mike?
Oh, sorry.
Where are you, Aaron?
Page 1, the bottom, 3 lines up, and it says, the board needs to accept new testimony and see what happens when they before the zoning board, when they go before the zoning board.
See what happens after they go.
Yep.
Probably.
Go.
What happens,
Yeah, after they go.
Go, yeah.
Before those, yeah.
Neither of the minutes list who's absent.
Huh?
Neither of the minutes lists who's absent.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably just one person.
Wow,
Yeah.
we used to, it was always there.
Anyone seen anything else?
Does it make any sense to, I'm sorry, under additional business 5, John Charbonneau introduced the town of Douglas as new legal counsel. Should we have her name there? Has he introduced her with her name? Kate Connolly, I suppose?
Yes, Kate Connolly.
We should put her name there.
Yeah, we can just add that in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for posterity, you know. Esquire, whatever they are.
I think under number 6, the first item, John addressed some concerns that are being posted. Mr. Charbonneau stated the planning board not only is restricted by law as far as approving and denying projects, but also common sense sometimes.
Prevails.
I don't remember saying that. Maybe I did. I don't remember
Well,
saying
no,
that.
but I don't know that it reflects what was said. So you were saying, rightly so, that the planning board is restricted in
Right.
terms of approving and denying projects, but the planning board is restricted to common sense? I don't know
But
what
just
that
strike the rest
means.
of that. Strike the,
Yeah, I'd like to strike that second part because I don't remember saying it, and certainly that's not, I don't believe that's in the spirit or the intent of what was being said.
Okay.
I agree.
but also common sense is out.
Because that makes it sound like it's very subjective and arbitrary, and
And then, right after that, Chief, educate the public with concerns, blah, 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 what the planning board is bound to by law. Just add board.
Mr. Charbonneau has also been working the accessory apartments that have been approved.
Working on.
Yeah.
This was a busy meeting. All right.
Glad to know it went into Mr. Charbonneau's office to let him know about the plans.
I like to be formal.
All right, so we have two sets with some amendments, so I'll entertain a motion.
To accept the minutes as amended?
Yep, for September 10 and September 24.
well, you tabled the minutes on the 10th because you
Yeah.
had a question.
Yep, so we'll do the September 24th.
Okay.
Motion to accept the meeting minutes for September 24th as amended,
So moved.
Second?
made by Mr. Zwicker, second by Ms. Schlesman. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll bring September 10th back to the next meeting, and minutes, possible votes, next meeting, and our next meeting is December 10th.
Yep.
The refund. All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn. No, we just have some signature vouchers to go around too.
So moved.
Second? Second.
Motion to adjourn made by Mr.
I'm taking my seat back on the tent.
Motion to adjourn by Mrs. Zwicker, second by Ms. Schlesman. Any further discussion? Seeing as none, all those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.